Why would you not want to feel better about yourself? Well, I would say that, again, we're going back to what I mentioned before, the physical and the mental. If you go and you get into the gym, when guys tell you, especially in the red pill spaces, when they tell you get in the gym and start working out and you'll feel better about yourself, the reason why that's where we start is because it triggers dopamine, it triggers endorphin, the chemical cocktails. Like, have you ever heard of runner's high? Like when marathon runners are running and they kind of feel that high afterwards because they've stimulated a chemical cocktail in their bodies that make them feel like they want to go out and run again. Well, yeah, because there are certain physical activities that really release stress. I would argue that, certainly getting into the gym, I keep saying my therapy and my meditation is the squat rack. My meditation is getting under the weight of a small VW, right? The way that you meditate your way and I'll meditate mine, baby. You can go and, fucking want. Take your Brazilian power crystals. If that's what makes you feel good, fine. But you know what? Don't give me shit. Don't call me gym culture because I'm in there busting my ass and I feel great afterwards. Well, that's not valid. That's not authentic. Why? Why is TRT not authentic, but like estrogen for women is? Why is it that if I dye my hair, I'm a fraud? But if women regularly dye their hair, they're not frauds? Because me dyeing my hair and not being exactly who I should, like I'm just here I am, warts and all. By not doing that, that puts me at a disadvantage, or puts me, if I'm trying to improve myself, any man in any way, it could be financially, it could be his health, it could be his game. Any guy that is trying to be a better version of himself is a threat, an existential threat to both his intrasexual competitors and for women who are trying to determine whether he's authentic or he's not. And that's really why that bitch has a tough time with TRT. Why is that? Because women want to know that men are the real deal. That's why when men disqualify other men, it's based on women's hypergamous filtering. So what happens is this. If a guy is very, very good, like for instance, you're in a group of guys right now and a dude walks in and he's dressed very well. He's got wonderful shoes. He looks like he's ripped. He's yoked. He's got model quality, facial features and everything else. He is women want to fuck this guy just by looking. Just imagine the best looking dude you can. Justin Waller, whatever. Imagine the best looking dude you can think of. What's the first thing guys will say to their social group of women who are just like, oh my God, he's gorgeous, right? They'll go, yeah, guys like that are usually gay. That's what they'll say, because that is a form of sexual competition. So what they're doing is they're disqualifying the guy who they can't possibly match. They're completely outclassed by that guy in the physical realm. And they know on an instinctual level that women want, that's the kind of guy that women want. That's the 4.5%er. Women want to fuck that guy. Their only recourse is to remove him from the sexual marketplace. Guys like that are gay. He's good looking. He might get your blood, he might get you into a hot lather, ladies, but he's gay. So he's not going to want to fuck you. He only likes to fuck men, right? So therefore he's disqualified from at least the heterosexual sexual marketplace. But hey, don't worry, I look pretty good too. And I'm a great guy and I'm funny and I'm dedicated, I'm committed, and I'm not part of gym culture and I'm just normal like everyone else. Yeah, you are. But I think on some level of consciousness, guys realize that they're outclassed by that dude. And so therefore they've got to find techniques and strategies to disqualify that guy. Women do the same thing. So when women are in a group of, or there are social groups, and they're at the club or something, maybe they're hanging out with other guys, maybe not. And a woman walks into the club and she is just dressed like we would say a skank or a slut or whatever, but she's just physically superior. Maybe she's in a red cocktail dress. She's the lady in red, right? She's got high heels on. She's got jewelry. Her hair is like hair extensions, right? That's not her real hair. That's an extension. They're all wearing extensions too, right? But the first thing women will say is, only sluts wear that. Only a slut would wear something like that. Oh, you like that? Only sluts wear like that. And so even the shame, like shaming men and saying, well, gosh, she looks hot. I really have to fuck that chick. Right. You like that? She looks like a streetwalker. what's wrong? Like making you think that there's something wrong with you for liking that and not her. And what that is that's another form of intrasexual competition by disqualifying a superior competitor that outclasses them. There's only one way. So there's, two ways. She can either go and claw her eyes out and tear her hair out and fight her, which ain't going to happen. But in modern times, we disqualify. And that's why women have a problem with TRT. Hear me out. Because TRT gives men a distinct advantage against other men. Now, that doesn't just because a guy is jacked because of TRT or because he's on gear or whatever else, peptides, just because that guy is jacked does not mean he's necessarily the best guy to raise children with or has game or has money. He just looks good. And women hate it when the guy just looks good because he looks like the guy that they just might want to fuck. And that's it. They're done. And they hate that because they have an emotional investment when it comes to sex, because they have a higher reproductive cost than men. So when a guy does that, it's an insult to what I've called women's existential fear. The existential fear of women is that they would be forced to reproduce with someone who is not of their choosing, or somebody who tricks them into believing that they should be fucking them when they aren't. So, for instance, if you had a guy who is for instance, the guy who takes pictures in front of a rented Lamborghini, the guy who pays models to hang out with him and take pictures of him outside the club, the guy who perception is everything especially in the social media age and the perception age right now. So it's very easy to fake the cues of high value for men today. Hell, there's like valet guys who would go and change their clothes, go take a picture next to a McLaren, put it on their Instagram, then go put their uniform back on as a valet runner or whatever, and then they go back to work, right? Because it's very easy to present the appearance of high value or conspicuous consumption, right? It's very easy to fake those signals, especially when it's as immediate as it is, because we just flip through. All these women who are complaining, or like especially OnlyFans girls, right, who are saying, oh, AI is going to ruin OnlyFans. The reason why they're upset about that is because it also, I think on some level, it reminds them that it's all about perception. It's all smoke and mirrors. So an AI generated girl who's like, big tits and like has a neotenous, a young looking face, and 12 fingers. Men don't care about that. They only care about like snapping one off to this AI generated image and then moving on to the next. And really that's a reminder of women's real, like when it's all about perceptions. It reminds women what they're really involved in when they're on social media. So when we see that, men are, I'm saying men don't, stupid men anyways, will see like an AI generated image and they'll be like, oh, okay. If you can't tell the difference, does it really matter? Well, women, when they're reminded of the fact that they can be swindled by the Tinder swindler, or they can be just as easily manipulated by a guy in a rented Lamborghini, it's a reminder that their filter isn't foolproof. So the hypergamous filter, or women's intuition, is this supposed to be the supernatural, metaphysical, preternatural ability to figure out whether a guy is full of shit or what his real quality is and what it's not. Ladies, you do not possess anything like that mythological feminine intuition you have. We know that in the data age, because for women who have the superior ability to filter out, losers and freaks, you tend to make a lot of really bad decisions when it comes to having sex and when it comes to having babies and marrying the wrong guy. And because we have access to that data, and we don't even need it. We could just see it on social media right now. It doesn't seem to be working as well as you think it is. Tinder swindler, anybody? So that filter is not foolproof, and women hate to be reminded that it might not be foolproof. So a guy who gets jacked on anabolic steroids or on TRT or whatever, any guy who is building himself up and trying to become the best version of himself, all of the things that traditional conservatives will say, well, men need to man up and be better men and be the best versions of themselves for women. And they gotta go to college and they gotta get a job and start a business and they gotta get into the gym. All of those things they agreed with when Andrew Tate was saying all of those things. All of those things, women are like, you sure? Is he really like that? Or is he taking TRT? Is he really like that? Does he really own that car? Because I don't know. Yeah, it could be. Can't tell if real. Like that meme. Can't tell if real. So all of those things that you'll hear Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Gore, whatever, all those guys who want you to be better for the sake of women. Women are still like, don't take TRT because that means you're faking it. Don't dye your hair because you're faking it. Don't break your legs and get height therapy because you're faking it. Just do what I want you to do, slave. Your want to be better, even if it's for the sake of women, even if you're like a complete simp and you're just like, you know what, I just gotta get jacked and juicy because if I don't, then I'm not gonna get laid. Even if it's something as based on, simply you wanted to get sex, women are still not going to believe that. They still don't. Or they're suspicious of it anyways. So is he faking it or is he not? And you know what? There'll be guys who will say, Rolo, you look good except for your calves. Because they're trying to disqualify me because they don't look nearly as good as I do, and especially not at 55 years old. So women get upset with that because that existential fear of getting with the guy who's they thought was alpha and then they discover is actually beta. Hell, you want to know why The Bachelor and The Bachelorette are such popular shows 27 seasons in now? It's because of the indignation that is derived from trying to figure out, is this motherfucker the real deal or is he not? And that's what comes down. You want to know why TRT is such a hot button item for these people? That's why. Intrasexual competition. You're a fake and a fraud because you dyed your hair, Rolo. I'm on TRT and my girlfriend generally doesn't give a fuck. Well, I bet you she does give a fuck, and probably more fucks than you think. Not in a bad way, in a good way. All right.